Well, I'm just gonna timer on my phone, on my iPad, and then you just tell me when to start it.
Okay, we can go ahead and start it now. So, good morning.
I'd like to shake your hands.
Hi. Hi. Erica Bryce.
Rianna Deselich.
Nice to meet you. Thank you, Forrest.
Karen.
Hi, Dan.
Ricardo. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Paul Lilly.
Holly. Nice to meet you.
So, hello, Rihanna. So, welcome here today. Thank you so much for applying. And wanting to serve your district. So, we're going to try to keep our talking to a minimum because we want to give you enough time to manage your questions. So, you should receive the questions at least by yesterday, at least someone will look with them. We have a strict 45 minutes. So, if we get through all the questions, that's great. If we don't, I'm sorry, but we need to make sure that it's a very consistent process for everybody. We are also asking that the public do not ask any questions of the applicants nor any press that may come, and that's to ensure consistency and then make sure that everybody has the exact same chance to answer the exact same questions.
Great.
Okay? Great. So let's go ahead and start with the first question, which is, why are you applying to serve? What do you hope to accomplish within the remaining term? Why did you choose not to run for this role in the next election?
Okay. I think the role of the council person is to, number one, listen, to represent, to educate, and to inform its constituents on matters that affect the neighborhood and the residents of Kansas City, Missouri. I'm applying to serve, seeing that I already volunteer in multiple civic capacities. I see this as an opportunity to continue advocating on a larger scale. I want to be a voice for neighborhoods and start an open line of communication that can be utilized by the next elected official for this office. I see this as an opportunity to continue my service for the 5th District with an open window to the future possibility of being a council person or elected official.
Is that your answer? Next question will be asked by Becky Forrest.
Can I follow up?
Sure.
As part of that question was, why did you choose not to run for this role in this election?
Because I feel that it would take me probably, I didn't intend on becoming a city council person this time because I am not prepared as far as campaign contributions. I feel like that's going to take a year or two of planning, and so I wasn't quite, I'm not, at this point in my personal life, I'm not ready to do a 4-year commitment, but I am able to do a 6-month commitment. Thank you.
Okay, please discuss your professional background and how your professional experience has prepared you for this role if selected.
Okay. I'm a master teacher, a leader, and a server. Those are the capacities that I've served in, and you can see that in my resume. I have a natural talent for planning, documenting, organizing, and able to take all perspectives into consideration, which are all key elements to being a good council person.
Any other commissioners' clarifications?
What professional backgrounds?
I have been a teacher. I have 4 different teaching degrees. I've been a leader in Kansas City Neighborhood Advisory Council, South Kansas City Alliance. I've been a leader in my neighborhood as a neighborhood president. I've been a leader as a coalition representative for the South Kansas City, southeast corner of Kansas City, my neighborhoods, including 4 different neighborhoods.
This is number 3, and I think is probably part of what you already just answered, but maybe you would repeat. That would be, what civic and or volunteer activities and organizations have you been a part of, and why?
In 2010, I was asked to I applied for the Kansas City Neighborhood Advisory Council position. The first position that I was given was an at-large position, but the region that I represent is the southeast corner of the 5th District. Then I was elected to become the Southeast Regional Representative. After that, I became the Secretary of Kansas City Neighborhood Advisory Council. I am currently the Vice President of Kansas City Neighborhood Advisory Council. And I guess the part of that question also is what motivated you? Why? Why are you a part of these organizations? Well, I became a community activist when I started to fight different developments in my neighborhood. And that's what got me introduced to the whole community organizations and plannings and city hall and all the different departments. So kind of grew out of that. I'm also a former board member of South Kansas City Alliance. I was one of the few group of people that started that organization from the very beginning. I am presently the chair of the Neighborhoods Committee. I have been on the Communication Committee, helped design the logo, helped come up with the brochure. I was on the bylaw committees to create the bylaws with Councilman Sharp. I became motivated to do this job after the redistricting, after the census of 2010. Just because a few people in the Southland were not too happy about the way the lines were drawn and how neighborhoods were split up, and so we decided to create a board and a group to hopefully garner more support from City Hall into the Southland. I'm also a former member of Kansas City Rapid Transit Alliance. I'm very interested in commuter rail, especially in my neighborhood. The Rock Island Rail runs through that neighborhood, goes through Knob-Town. I don't know if you're familiar with Knob-Town, but I live very close to that intersection of 350 and Nolan. I have a lot of dreams and a lot of passion for a better future for Knob-Town, and I am very excited about the possibility of the commuter rail coming through that area, bringing people with mass transit, bringing people from the south part of Kansas City and Lee Summit back by rail into the city for their jobs and for entertainment. I'm also the Kansas City representative on the Rich Knoll Paysetter Awards group that is within City Council. Rich Knoll was a planner for a long time in City Hall. He died suddenly, and so Scott Wagner decided about 3 years ago to create an award for city employees. We meet every month, we select different employees and then give them an award for being exemplary employees. So I'm the Casey Neck for that. And I think number 4, I answered that with what my roles are in those organizations. Okay.
Question number 5. Please discuss an activity or project that you are involved in with this organization, what you learned from the activity, and how it impacted the district.
My apologies, this organization should be an organization, so any organization of your choice, but one where you've had a leadership role.
Okay, I've got quite a few examples. Every year, Kansas City Neighborhood Advisory Council invites the city manager to come to our meeting where we invite the public to talk about the budget process, because we feel that that is the beginning time of the budget process, and we want to be able to, first of all, we need to listen to what he has to say, the city manager, about the budget, and then we like to evaluate and make any kind of suggested changes during that meeting. I've learned that in this period of October, November is the best time to get your input in as a neighborhood person on the budget. This year was kind of different. Jan Markison, the finance committee person, organized 2 different seminars. They were roundtable seminars that were actually held in this room, talking about the budget, talking about how, it was like a roundtable exercise actually, where we actually got to look at the budget, do sort of play group sort of thing where we had an example of how we would cut and where we would put it and do all that kind of stuff. And we filled out quite a few different questionnaire forms, and I thought that was an extremely positive experience. And this year is a little different in the budget process. There's only going to be 1 public hearing instead of 3 or 4 that they usually have. And so, anyway, I thought that was a really positive change in the budget process. But every year, Casey Knack in the fall invites the city manager to come talk to us. We had a seminar here a few years ago where he came and brought all of his department heads to talk to the citizens about the budget and how it affects the different departments. I've been involved with a neighborhood called Slope Ridge. It's just right down the street. They were involved 20 years ago in the Winchester TIF. There was a problem. They were promised 20 years ago that they were going to get infrastructure improvements in their neighborhood, sewer, they're all on septic, they were going to get sewer, sidewalks, curbs, all that sort of stuff. That changed after the 20 year of the TIF. With other Casey Knack representatives, have met with that neighborhood leader, with the city manager, with the water department, with Public Works, to talk about how to use the money that's been aside for that neighborhood to create a more livable community, getting rid of their septic systems. That's not possible because there is no sewer in that area, but they have been given money to make improvements to their home. So it's an ongoing process. We're still working with that with the city manager and the different departments. One of the things I've been involved in, I was asked to be on the Little Blue Valley Area Park Plan. And in the Little Blue area, we also have a new park. The old Kansas City International Racetrack was purchased by the 5th District and made into a park. About 2 or 3 years ago, they asked for public input into that. I brought to the table about 20 different ideas on amenities for that park. It's been a really exciting, I have a big vision for that park since it's in a semi-rural area and there's lots of horses and stables around that area. I've always had this vision of there being horse trails and bike trails and walking trails through that connect to the Little Blue Trace area and that park. And that trail, and so I've attended different meetings on how to basically plan that park. One thing that I learned as I was involved in this park, I went to go meet with Jackson County about this park. They thought it was a great idea, but then when we got down to the nuts and bolts of the horses and the trails and the excrement from the horses and how that's going to be managed with the walking and biking people, Jackson County said, well, we're not so interested, but Kansas City Parks Department is interested because it could be one of its own kind, a horse park basically in Kansas City, Missouri. So I learned that even though you're told no by Jackson County, you keep your same vision and you just wait for the right opportunity and you just keep working at it anyway. I worked with a group of people about a year ago. There was a proposal, the Burns and McDonald new headquarters at 95th and Ward Parkway. What they brought with them when they moved from 435 and Holmes was a very large lit sign for the building. But that building at 95th and Bannister is in a residentially zoned area. So there was a conflict between the neighborhood area and the Burns and McDonald building for having that sign. What was proposed is that we change the zoning and code rules to allow businesses within residential to have these large lidded signs. We were able, our group, Kansas City Neighborhood Advisory Council and neighborhood people testified and kept that going to a citywide ordinance. So basically our position was, okay, if you want Burns and McDonald to have this sign, okay, let them have their sign, but we do not want this going all over the city. And so we were able to have that sign turned off at 7 o'clock at night, not turned on until 7 o'clock in the morning, so it doesn't distract the neighborhoods that live around there. So I'm pretty proud of all the work that I did with that. I think I answered Oh, I'm currently working on a digital sign ordinance.
Okay, I'm sorry, quick question. Are you answering question 6 or answering?
I'm still
question
answering
You're still on
5.
5. Okay, I just
So
wanted-
I'm working on a digital sign proposal with, actually today we have a hearing at PZ&E. I led, there was a proposal to allow churches and schools to have digital signs in Kansas City because there is not a digital sign ordinance currently in commercial zoned area or in residential zoned areas. So I've been working with fellow Kansas City Neighborhood Advisory Council people and different neighborhood leaders on first educating ourselves about digital signs, because digital signs can mean anything. They can mean just the scrolling of the date and time, or they can be these pictures that have messages. I consider myself living next to one of the world's most distracting digital sign, which is at Unity Village. So anyway, I led a educational seminar at Northland Neighborhoods, inviting digital sign companies to come and educate us about that, so that we could make a better choice and about how we were going to deal with this sign issue. I learned about different types of signs with that, and city staff came to that meeting, development lawyers came to that meeting, and residents. So we were all able to basically get educated, and we're still in this fight right now, even today.
Yeah.
All right, done with that, so.
And
go
so
on to
let you know
6.
you have about approximately 28 minutes
Okay.
left.
Yeah, quite a few more questions. Okay, so thank you very much for those answers. So number 6, what activities listed in your resume have best developed you for the role of this district?
Okay, I have my resume, and under work history, I have about 5 things. I am the president of Unity Ridge Homeowners Association, so having a leadership role since 2008. I've helped organize different oppositions to different development in my area. I'm going to try to keep this brief. In 2010, a development came to our area called Summit on Pryor. I organized a coalition of neighborhoods, Silvertooth, Faden Farms, Walnut Woods, Wedgewood Point, to basically get educated about this development. This development called for convenience stores, gas stations, fast food, or a bank, and blasting for rock removal for infrastructure, which all concerned our neighborhoods. And so we had a 4-year-long fight. We put together $150,000 in legal fees to fight this. And what we realized is that the new Chapter 88 zoning and development code that Kansas City adopted had an illegal process. So we actually sued KCMO over Chapter 88. We lost at the city level, took it to Jackson County, and we won. So we were able to change the appeal process for neighborhoods so that they would not have to hire lawyers and go through the fight that we did for $150,000 in order to protect their neighborhoods. So I involved Chapter 88, and that was one of the other things that I was involved in. I'm very proud of the work that we did to change Chapter 88. I was also, as I mentioned before, Mayor James appointed me in 2011 to be on the Little Blue Valley Area Plan. In conjunction with the Little Blue Valley Area Plan, we also worked on the new Little Blue Valley Park, developing that. My role in Kansas City Neighborhood Advisory Council, I was appointed, like I said, at the at-large position. I am still on that board, and I am the vice president of that board. South Kansas City Alliance, I described that before. I was one of the founding board members of that. One of the other things that I've done is I've organized opposition to a second liquor store in Nogtown, and we were able to, so I got involved with the whole liquor control faction of commercial businesses, and I've never done that before, and I learned a lot, and we were able to keep that liquor store from opening. This summer, I was involved in a project in Knoxtown where there is a project going on where there's quarrying going on behind the fire station in Knoxtown. And they've expanded their rock removal. They use blasting to remove the rock. They've expanded the area that they want to remove rock from. They're closer to neighborhoods now. They're closer to want to blast rock in the middle of 50 Highway between the east and the westbound lanes. I was able to, with a neighborhood group, prove that there was a historical cemetery in this median strip, which the developer did not want to recognize. I found descendants of this historical cemetery. There's books written on this historical cemetery, so I was able to present it at CPC. I was able to get letters from Jackson County about the possibility of a transit-oriented development going into Knoxtown. So through the help of the neighborhoods, we were able to say to the developers, I'm sorry, but you have to respect that historical cemetery and the fact that Jackson County has plans to put commuter rail through there adjacent to your property. So we created an ordinance that allows for those two things to be protected, which I'm very proud about. A couple things I've been involved in too is working with Northland Neighborhoods through Kansas City Neighborhood Advisory Council, developing a better partnership all over throughout the city with different neighborhood groups. And also now I've been working with another neighborhood in the Ruskin Heights area, going to different legal aid seminars. There was a seminar on how to create a 501c3, how to find vacant property owners. We've been videotaping those meetings and putting them on YouTube, so neighborhood leaders who could not attend those meetings were able to get the information anyway. All right.
Okay. Question number 7. What is your highest priority for the upcoming city budget, and how we manage that with competing priorities within the 5th district and within the council? And you have approximately 22 minutes.
Okay. My highest priority in the budget is to provide for neighborhood safety, livability, which includes control of trash, blight, vacant homes, crime prevention and reduction, and continuing positive development in the 5th district and citywide.
Is that your full answer?
Yes.
Question number 8.
What are the top 3 challenges in the 5th district, and how do you intend to address them from this role? What tools would you use and why?
All right. No matter where I go in neighborhoods in Kansas City, there's 3 things that I always hear about: trash, vacant and blighted buildings, and crime. The 5th district is sort of interesting because it's divided in 2 different patrol sectors. There's the East Patrol and there's the South Patrol. I live in the South Patrol region. The South Patrol, well, both of these regions are very large in the area and do not have, from my estimation, enough patrolmen working in those areas, because we have long wait times, especially in the far east area and the southeast corner where I live. There's not enough officers to carry such a large geographical area. We often experience blackout times where no officers can respond to the calls that we make. I've heard different people talk about substations, maybe put a police substation like in the new park area or in the Knoxtown Park area. I've talked to different policemen about that. That doesn't really seem to work because policemen are in their patrol cars, they're not sitting in offices waiting for phone calls. So we need more police officers, is the bottom line, so that they can be, there are more of them out on the streets doing more. One of the other top challenges I feel is trash in Kansas City and other areas. I feel that the Doremus drop-off site that is off of Front Street is too far away, especially from the 5th District, for proper disposal of paint, tires, and hazardous waste. I think that we need to install more cameras at the illegal dumping sites, fine the hell out of them, or put them in jail. Assist neighborhoods in community cleanup, such as the ABOP program. That's where different regions of Kansas City once a year have a drop-off site for antifreeze. Darn, what was the B stand for? Batteries, oil, paint, and tires, or using dumpsters. If you're a registered neighborhood, you can get dumpsters at a reduced cost to come and clean up your neighborhoods. I think that neighborhoods, I'm sorry to say, they got to clean up their own neighborhoods because there's very limited resources in the city budget for these things. Number 3 is vacant or blighted buildings. We have to help the neighborhoods combat these vacant and blighted buildings in their communities. I feel that we need to hire more codes inspectors. A year ago in the budget, they laid off 6 inspectors, and that increased the number of cases that each inspector had, which made it very difficult to get to the 16,000 vacant homes we have in Kansas City. I think we need to reevaluate the volunteer inspection program. That was sort of a fix for a while, where we had a program where we trained our citizens to go out and take pictures of blight and then report the blight to the codes inspectors. But now the judge at Housing Court wants the volunteer inspectors to come to court and actually make the case, which a lot of people are reluctant to do, to go face their accusers like that. So I think that we need to do some more work on the volunteer inspection program, because I thought it was a good idea. We need to partner with legal aid by putting on seminars. We need to show neighborhoods how to find the owners of these vacant houses and these blighted houses, to do title research so they can finally bring them to the housing court. All right, that was number 8.
That was number 9.
I know, that was, well, there were the challenges and the
Okay.
Yeah, now we're talking about the
Well,
assets.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How would you go about us getting more officers hired?
Just keep advocating and advocating and advocating for more money, to find more tax money, to be able to convince the city manager and the mayor and the council that we need to switch money around to buy more officers and pay for their salaries.
What are the top 3 assets of the 5th District, and how do you intend to address them from this role?
Okay.
Also, what tools would you use and apply?
All right. I have 3 different things that I think are assets. Number 1 is the Swope Park. I grew up around Swope Park. It's always been a part of my life. I feel that with the new soccer park that we have at Swope Park, that I've made suggestions. The Kansas City Neighborhood Advisory Council has actually met with the city manager about this. With the neighborhood, with the Swope Park Ridge neighborhood, creating more economic development around this soccer park. We need hotels, restaurants, gas stations, coffee shops around that particular facility, because where are the families going to spend their money that come to that park for those soccer tournaments? So there is DST land that is sitting there vacant. There's all kinds of different land. I would, through economic incentives, try to encourage development around that park. I would like to improve the neighborhoods around that park. I grew up in the Foxtown West or East neighborhood. There's Foxtown East, West, there's East Meyer, there's Swope Ridge. These neighborhoods all have blighted properties. I would like to help them remove the blighted properties, maybe create larger lots sizes per home, encourage economic development so we can provide jobs and tax revenues for those neighborhoods so that we can reinvest those tax dollars that we're making in those economic developments, those commercial developments, to be reinvested into those neighborhoods. Another asset I see is the Little Blue Valley, to continue to plan and develop the Little Blue Valley area plan, the park that is an ongoing development, and Nodtown. Nodtown is one of the last commercial areas in the southeast corner. There's not a lot that we get to spend our money at. There's a liquor store, there is a entertainment center there. This does not serve the residents of our neighborhoods. We would like to see the possibility of gas stations in that area, a grocery store in that area, but that area needs money spent on it because there are no sewer lines in the Nodtown commercial area, and there is no natural gas. So for those businesses to be better, we have to improve the infrastructure. Another very new and important asset to the 5th District is the Cerner Old Bannister Mall project that will continue to maximize economic growth. That Cerner project is a $4 billion project. South Kansas City is hoping that that project and the Oxford on the Blue project and the North Point project will all bring grocery stores, restaurants, coffee shops, and other businesses to support the South Kansas City area, which is really lacking in economic development.
What tools would you use to bring things?
Tax incentives, tax abatements, tax incentives, encouraging businesses. Once we get the infrastructure improvements, I am a proponent of dig a hole once and put the infrastructure all in there together at the same time, so we're not digging holes the second time. So right now we're working with Public Works to find money in the PIAC funds and in Public Works they're making, in 2015, they are making the intersection of 350 and Nolan Road bigger. So I'd like to see the infrastructure improvements made right then, at the same time they're doing that, so that the businesses can be changed and have the sewer and have the natural gas that they need to expand their businesses.
So when you do incentives and abatements, you take money from one pocket and put it in another. How are you going to create an equitable budget by doing that?
I'm hoping that we're going to encourage private money to be spent on this also, not just tax incentives. All right, number 10.
We have 11 minutes and 45
Alright.
seconds.
All right.
If selected, how would you engage 5th District residents during your term? What would be their role during your term?
I will go to neighborhood meetings. That will be the first thing that I will do. I will reach out to my constituents through the lists that we keep with the Neighborhood and Housing Services, hopefully get that list updated. I will attend, I will make appointments, attend these meetings, meet these people. I will keep my promises. I will listen. I will take notes. I will go into these meetings with a lot of empathy and a lot of compassion. I will encourage letters and emails. I will support coalitions to be formed. I will continue to educate, strengthen, and support neighborhoods.
Okay.
Number 11.
Yeah. How will you maintain transparency and accountability to the residents of the 5th District? How should residents assess your performance in this role?
I will become transparent because I will be meeting with them in their neighborhood meeting settings. I will listen to their concerns, and I will connect them with the city resources that can assist them with their issues or their concern. I will always follow up by phone calls or emails, and I will definitely keep the lines of communication open.
And number 12, if selected, what council committees will you serve on, or would you like to serve on? Why, and what do you plan to accomplish with your activity on these committees?
I have 3 committees that I would like to work on. Number 1 is Planning, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee. My passion is area plans. I would love to be able to take area plans from being resolution only or guides only into ordinances, that they all are followed. Because there's lots of time and lots of money spent on these area plans, and for them to sit on a shelf and collect dust and not be used is a travesty. I would like to be on the Neighborhoods, Housing, and Healthy Communities Committee with Melba Curls. That's obvious because I am a neighborhood leader, a neighborhood activist. I would like to promote outreach to the neighborhoods through this committee. My final committee that I would like to be on is Public Safety and Emergency Services Committee. My husband is a retired firefighter. I have participated in the firefighters' strategic planning. A year ago, I would like to lobby for research for mental health issues that affect firefighter families, police families, and make, I hear a lot about suicide right now in the fire department, and that really concerns me, and I know as a wife, and this is my daughter of a fireman, that we have had lots of stress in our lives because of those occupations that our spouses serve in.
Does that conclude your answer?
That completes my answer.
13.
Who are the top 5 people that influence you and why?
My mother influences me. She gives me an opportunity to check out patterns and in our family and different challenges in our family, and how to be a loving, kind person like her, but to also be my own self and learn from her childhood. My husband influences me a lot. I consider my husband a very intelligent person. He has a bachelor's degree in science. He became a fireman at the age of 22 during his tenure as a fireman. He got his master's degree in public administration while we had young children, and I look to him for advice. He is he's my rock, and he is the opposite of me. He's very patient and has a lot of forethought, and so I use him a lot. My children definitely influence me. We've had different issues through our multiracial adoption and through the genetics of their biological families that we have had to deal with in the last 15 years. My friend sitting behind me, Joseph Jackson, has been an influence of me. We have been on KC-NAC since the beginning of my time. We work together as president, vice president, or secretary, vice president, and together we support each other. We call each other every day and work on projects. And finally, the person, I know this is the 6th person, I'm sorry, but the 6th person is my higher power, who I use to constantly give me the confidence and give me the courage to face these challenges in my life. 14 is my final comments to the residents. I'd like to address, I can't face you instead of looking at my back, but anyway, I would like to work to develop a partnership between residents, businesses, and development within the 5th District. It is time for the residents of the 5th District to work together, neighbor to neighbor, neighbor to business, neighbor to city leaders, to collaborate and increase the livability, the public safety, and the economic opportunities that will strengthen our district for the future. It would be my honor to serve the residents of the 5th District. I welcome the opportunity, and I look forward to working with you to make the 5th District as best as ever. I am ready to do the hard work necessary to make substantial progress in reaching the priorities of the fifth district. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate this opportunity. And I appreciated getting these questions yesterday.